Channel 1, Channel 2, 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 Channel 1, Channel 2,
Thank you. Here from GM, and she is part of our Dick Warwick Market Research Professorship Series. So what we're trying to do is basically get you all excited about market research and give you a glimpse into this very important world of data and analytics and how it's really driving what we do in advertising and public relations and marketing. And so thank you so much for coming tonight. We really think that she's a dynamite speaker. And I want to briefly also thank Professor Dane Kiambi, who was a Planck Fellow this past summer at GM, where you spent what, 2 weeks there, Dane?
Yes.
Yeah, and so it's a way for our instructors to work in industry for a little while and to see what's happening so that we can bring this back into the classroom. So what we're going to do is hear from Whitney, and I'll tell you a little bit about her background for about an hour or so, and then we want to open it up for questions. So please take the opportunity to ask her whatever it is that you're interested in. So let me tell you a little bit about her background. Whitney Drake, she manages the Story Bureau and Analytics team within GM Communications. And so her team uses research and measurement to tell GM stories in outlets and media that reach specific target audiences with the ultimate goal of driving brand reputation and sales for General Motors. She first worked with GM when she implemented Chevrolet's social media strategy, then managed the global social integration of all of GM's US brands. She joined the Global Social Media Center of Expertise, which sets strategy, measurement, and education around social best practices. That was in 2013. She was responsible for managing global social customer care and defining a social care customer satisfaction number, as well as determining a way to measure how this practice impacted the bottom line. Most recently, she worked on GM's operational excellence team using Six Sigma practices to solve problems across the company. She brings more than 20 years of experience consulting for consumer goods and automotive clients. She has created unique activations for the Super Bowl. Doesn't get any bigger than that, right? American Idol, South by Southwest, Children's Place, and T-Mobile. She has a master's degree in integrated marketing communications from West Virginia University and earned her Bachelor of Arts degree in communications from Michigan State University. She currently is an adjunct instructor at West Virginia University and also at Wayne State University. So help me welcome Whitney, and we'll turn it over to you.
Thanks so much, and thanks to the staff and Dane for having me, and thanks to you guys for coming out. I know you're in the middle of getting ready for presentations and coming off the Thanksgiving holiday, so I really appreciate the fact that you came out. Just to touch a little bit on the Story Bureau, we use creative elements like graphics, images, and videos to help tell our brand stories, both at a corporate and a nameplate level. And the job of my team is to help use analytics, measurement, and research to help drive those stories and then ultimately develop them. We want to make sure that we're implementing measurement at the beginning and revisiting it at the end to change the way that we look at things moving forward. We talked a little bit about me. A couple of things that we didn't talk about is that I love to travel and was lucky enough in my job to get to go to China, Singapore, Brazil, South America, Mexico, and a few other countries. So the opportunity to mix travel along with work, I highly commend. So if you get that kind of job, go for it. I'm also the mom to twins. They're 5-year-olds. They are very busy and they keep me on my toes. And usually I don't get a lot of sleep. So if you want to find me on a social network, please do so. Okay, so one of the jobs from a PR research perspective is to make sure that we are using research to solve problems and drive the messaging and strategies that we're trying to tell. So everyone has a little bit of a different definition of how you look at research. So these are just a couple of examples of PRSA and PR Week. So in many cases it's proprietary. So for example, we're doing some research that I can't share with you guys. I'm happy to talk in larger context, but we consider it proprietary to our business. And so you will run into that if you're talking to companies. Don't be offended. It's not personal. It's mainly because they're trying to protect the research and what they're trying to use it for. There's third-party research, which I'm going to get into all of the different types of research, but I like our definition, which is the CAT, and we use research to keep us out of trouble. And I'm going to talk a little bit specifically about how companies might have used research to help them when they were messaging and making announcements later. So my first example is Amazon. So how many people are familiar with Amazon's home delivery announcement from October? Okay, so I'll give a little background for those that aren't, because most of you aren't. They basically announced that they would leverage smart lock and use video footage to allow delivery people to put packages inside of your home. How many people think this is a great idea? How many people think this is a bad idea? So seriously, I'm laughing because this is a great example of when research would have helped them. So you represent the majority of the sentiment that we saw after their announcement. So how's it going to affect my insurance prices? Why would we let people into our home when we spend a ton of time trying to keep them out? An example of Silicon Valley being completely out of touch. When you go into the statistics, which some people expected the younger demographics to be in favor of it, more than half were uncomfortable, and as the older you got, the less comfortable people got statistically. So bottom line is, not many people were comfortable with doing this. I'm going to come back to this in a little bit, but one of the things that we want to look at is, what is the problem you're trying to solve when you do the research? So when you talk to researchers, you want to keep these things in mind. So what is the objective? So if we look at Amazon, their objective would be to understand home delivery, right? What questions are you trying to answer? At the end of the project, how will you know what success looks like? Oftentimes, my team will spend several calls trying to define what success looks like. Obviously, if we're doing a campaign, you have to have an end goal in mind. It could be to improve brand reputation. It could be to improve sales. It could be to change an image or drive customer awareness. It could be, I'm going to talk a little bit later about vaccines. It could be to drive vaccination rates up. It could be any of those things, but at the end of the day, when you're trying to look at research or measurement, you need to know what your end game is at the beginning, or at least have some kind of idea of where you're headed. Do we already have any information available for the program or the problem? So is there any research that validates what we're trying to look at or negates it? And then do we need to do more research, or are we just trying to fill a gap? Because research can be expensive. And so you want to make sure you're not just conducting it without looking at what else is available. Will this be something that we revisit later? Is it one and done? Is it just a quick look, or are we going to look at it at the beginning and the end? Keeping in mind that sometimes if you're doing a survey and you want to use the information publicly, you have to disclose that at the beginning of your research project. And then what is the definition of the audience in question? So who are we trying to look at? What's the ideal candidate? So are you trying to look at someone who is 18 to 24 currently in the market for a job, or is it someone 18 to 24 who already has a job or is in school? So be as specific as possible. And if you don't know, you can spend time with the team to define it and work together on that. And then once you have it, what are you going to use it for? So I love GM, but we have a tendency to get a lot of data, and sometimes we don't always take action on that data. So make sure that if you're doing research, you're going to have an action from that data. That's not to say there will be times where you do research and the data doesn't deliver on what you expected, perhaps. That's not the same as not having a plan to use the data. So how can we use PR research? We want to understand an issue. We want to identify stakeholders and audiences. We want to formulate objectives. We want to formulate key messages, and then we want to follow up through evaluation, adjustment, and next steps. Remember, a lot of times when you're using measurement and research in PR, it's not necessarily a moment in time. Yes, those happen, but generally speaking, you should take the research to drive different decisions in the future or adjust in a campaign as you're going. So all of the research should set an objective, develop a strategy based on those objectives, and implement steps based on the strategy. So again, make sure you clearly outline what you're trying to do in the process. I'm going to talk a little bit of types of research. So there's formal research and informal research, and I'm going to go into a little bit more detail in a minute. There's primary research, which is research you conduct, and secondary research. There's qualitative and quantitative research. And then within GM, we use the research to understand.
Currently here in Lincoln, we are under clear and sunny skies at 45 degrees. Winds are out of the north at 10 to 15 miles per hour, which is significantly reduced from those gusty winds we had earlier this afternoon at 30 miles per hour. If we look to the almanac, we can see that today's high of 55 degrees is well above our average of 43 degrees. However, our low of 48 degrees today is well above our average of 22 degrees by a quite significant difference. We can also see that the sunset does continue to get earlier and earlier today, hitting right at 5 p.m. If we look to tonight, it does get much colder at 21 degrees, although the winds do die down to 5 miles per hour overnight. And tomorrow morning, you want to make sure you do grab that jacket, as it will remain quite chilly. However, dress in layers, because by the afternoon, it will be in the mid-50s at 52 degrees and sunny, with calmer winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Once again, tomorrow will feel much warmer than today because of the calmer winds. If we look to the 7-day outlook, we can see the week ahead is quite mild, with temperatures in the mid-50s throughout the rest of the week. And as we look through the weekend, and especially Sunday, there is a slight chance of showers later in the day. However, that should not interfere with any of your Sunday plans, and temperatures do rest comfortably right below 60 degrees. We can also see for the start of the work week, temperatures do rest in the mid-50s. That's all for us here at Weather. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Camille. Holiday shopping kicked off on Black Friday.
We looked into how Cyber Monday affected local stores.
You're watching Star City News, live from the College of Journalism and Mass Communications in Lincoln.
Out with the old, in with the new. The University of Nebraska-Lincoln's College of Journalism and Mass Communications is ready for the future with its brand new renovation. This renovation was completed with you in mind, so you can create, so you can innovate. Change how you view the world, how you capture the world. Start here, go anywhere.
Welcome to the Lincoln Children's Museum, where the possibilities are endless. The museum offers kids a chance to develop their creativity and turn it into something special. So come on down and be active, be creative, be goofy, and much more. Discover the Lincoln Children's Museum, quick, before they grow up. You're watching Star City News, live from the College of Journalism and Mass Communications in Lincoln.
President Trump visited Capitol Hill today to help build support for his tax plan before the committee vote. The bill passed 12-11 and will head to the Senate floor this week. The plan would increase the deficit by $1.4 trillion over the next 10 years. In other news out of the White House, the Navajo Nation is calling President Trump's Pocahontas comment a racial slur. During an event honoring Navajo code talkers, Trump referenced his nickname for Senator Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas. Warren was not at the event and said it was deeply unfortunate that Trump couldn't refrain from using the racial slur during the ceremony.
The suspect in New York's deadliest terror attack since 9/11 is scheduled for arraignment in federal court today. The 22-count indictment charges Saifullo Sapov with 8 counts of murder in aid of racketeering, 1 count of providing and attempting to provide material support to ISIS, and 1 count of violence and destruction of a motor vehicle. And Black Friday shoppers may be looking for a bargain for clothing or electronics, but this year's surprise big seller, guns. The FBI received more than 203,000 requests. Experts say fear of more gun control in the wake of recent massacres appears to be one of the reasons. And guns were not the only ones selling. Local businesses had great success on Cyber Monday. Bulu Box, a monthly sample box filled with vitamins, supplements, and healthy snacks, had 3 times their average sales. And Spreetail, an e-commerce company, celebrated its own success, saying they plan to expand and hire new people next year.
Representative Luis Gutierrez from Illinois is expected to announce today that he will not be seeking re-election. Gutierrez has held his seat since 1993 and is a leading voice on immigration reform.
North Korea fired a ballistic missile earlier today. It was fired from Sani, and the Pentagon said it traveled 1,000 kilometers before crashing into the Sea of Japan. South Korean military conducted a precision missile firing drill as a response to the launch.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle announced their engagement yesterday. The couple has dated for over a year and is set to be married in the spring. Markle's ring is estimated to be worth $350,000. The engagement is straying from the royal family's conservative history, since Markle is a divorced American actress with biracial heritage. Kate Middleton says she is absolutely thrilled for the couple. Coming up, 2 major suspensions in the NFL.
Plus, a look at what coaching jobs are available in college football.
You're watching Star City News, live from the College of Journalism and Mass Communications in Lincoln.
In 2012, the national percentage of adults reporting that they drank too much alcohol before driving was 1.9%. In that same year, Nebraska adults reported 3.4%, nearly twice as much as the national average. People know they shouldn't drive, yet they still do. People go out and plan on coming back home. But as we all know, everything doesn't always go as planned. Inform those around you about the risks of drunk driving.
Welcome to the Lincoln Children's Museum, where the possibilities are endless. The museum offers kids a chance to develop their creativity and turn it into something special. So come on down and be active, be creative, be goofy, and much more. Discover the Lincoln Children's Museum, quick, before they grow up. You're watching Star City News, live from the College of Journalism and Mass Communications in Lincoln.
Welcome back to Star City News. I'm Jack Housengay with the latest in sports. Another week in the NFL has come and gone as the Baltimore Ravens closed Week 12 last night with a 23-16 victory over the Houston Texans. Other notable scores from the weekend include the Los Angeles Rams' 26-10 win over the Saints, which snapped New Orleans' 8-game winning streak. Chris Boswell's field goal in the final seconds pushed the Steelers past the Packers in Pittsburgh, while the seemingly playoff-bound Jaguars fell to the Cardinals in overtime. But it wasn't all fun and games this weekend. Broncos cornerback Aqib Talib and Raiders wide receiver Michael Crabtree have each been suspended 2 games for fighting during Sunday's game in Oakland. Here's a look at the skirmish, which came less than 4 minutes into the contest. Both Talib and Crabtree were ejected from the game, and both players plan to appeal their suspensions. The man reportedly involved in a potential catfishing incident with former NBA All-Star Ray Allen says the retired guard wants to kill him. TMZ Sports obtained court documents filed by the accuser, Bryant K. Coleman, that alleges Allen is stalking him. An emergency motion filed by Allen a week ago accused Coleman of pretending to be a number of attractive women online, communicating with Allen through several accounts. Now, according to AP, Allen reached a deal with Coleman to keep their conversations private. However, Coleman says Allen spied on him multiple times, called him to ensure he, quote, never opened his mouth, and is now a, quote, deranged individual. Allen's attorney, David Marcus, says Allen is exploring all legal options against Coleman. Los Angeles Clippers forward Blake Griffin suffered a left knee injury that forced him to leave Monday night's win over the Lakers. As you can see here, Griffin fell with rookie Lonzo Ball and teammate Austin Rivers beneath the Lakers' basket during a loose ball late in the fourth quarter. Clippers coach Doc Rivers updated Griffin's status, saying he has a sprained MCL and could be out up to 2 months. And finally, the college football coaching carousel is well underway as Nebraska fans continue to keep their eye on Central Florida coach and former Husker quarterback Scott Frost. Several schools with vacancies are already filling the position. Former Mississippi State head coach Dan Mullen was hired by the University of Florida on Sunday. The Gators fired Jim McElwain in late October, despite McElwain winning the SEC East Division in his first 2 seasons. And out west, UCLA has hired Chip Kelly, who most recently coached in the NFL for the 49ers and Eagles. Kelly was an instrumental part in the rise of the Oregon Ducks from 2009 to 2012. Still, plenty of high-profile programs have yet to hire a head coach. After a fiasco involving Ohio State defensive coordinator Greg Schiano, Tennessee has reportedly set their eyes on Oklahoma State head coach Mike Gundy. Nebraska, as mentioned, is allegedly targeting Scott Frost, while Texas A&M is said to be making a run at Florida State's Jimbo Fisher. That's the latest in sports. Again, I'm Jack Housing. Coming up next on Star City News, a look at the latest in entertainment, including the return of a pretty wild TV show.
You gotta stay with me, boy. We don't know where we are. This isn't a dream then.
You're watching Star City News, live from the College of Journalism and Mass Communications in Lincoln. Welcome to the University of Nebraska State Museum. Explore the history of life. Immerse yourself in the full-dome, state-of-the-art planetarium experience. See spectacular fossil discoveries and walk alongside ancient sea giants in our Mesozoic era. Take a journey through time and explore the world before we knew it. The University of Nebraska State Museum. You're watching Star City News, live from the College of Journalism and Mass Communications in Lincoln. Welcome back to Star City News. I'm Keon Asgarpour with the latest in entertainment. Award season is almost upon us, and the Grammy nominations for 2018 are out. This year's crop of nominees might be the Grammys' most diverse class yet, with several rap and R&B stars like Jay-Z, who received 8 nods, and rapper Kendrick Lamar in a close second with 7. The 60th Grammy Awards will take place at New York City's Madison Square Garden on Sunday, January 28th on CBS. The Angels and their wings are ready to fly across the catwalk. The infamous Victoria's Secret fashion show has undoubtedly filled your televisions in anticipation of tonight. You can watch the show, which airs on CBS at 9 p.m. Central Time. Besides the show-stopping outfits and beautiful women, you can catch musical performances from artists like Harry Styles, Miguel, Leslie Odom Jr., and Jane Zhang.
I love Seaside Heights, New Jersey this time of year. We're back in our habitat, and I'm ready to tear the speakers off this joint.
Honestly,
Cabs are here! MTV is bringing back the reality TV franchise Jersey Shore with all of its original cast members. The original Jersey Shore ran for 6 seasons on MTV from 2009 to 2012 and was a hit amongst youth and Guidos nationwide. The new season of drama, lust, and gym tanning and laundry is set to air in 2018. A Superhero League was no match for A Boy with a Guitar and a Dream at the box office this weekend. The animated movie Coco is about a boy who goes on a quest to reignite his musical roots in the afterlife. The Pixar movie led the box office with over $50 million since Friday. The Justice League ended in a close second, grossing $41 million, and Wonder with $22 million. That's all the time we have for entertainment. I'm Kian Azgapur. Karina, Emma, have you guys had a chance to see Coco yet?
Yes, I actually went to go see it yesterday.
You know, I'm super excited to go take my little sister to it.
And it was a record-breaking weekend of sales with Black Friday and Cyber Monday.
Let's find out what makes today so special with Lee Marion and the latest in social media.
Thanks guys. Now here with the latest in social media. Black Friday and Cyber Monday had a blockbuster sales this weekend, but today is Giving Tuesday, your chance to give a little something back. Facebook with Mark Zuckerberg and the Gates Foundation have teamed up to contribute. Nonprofit groups on Facebook started fundraisers today. The Gates Foundation plans to match all donations up to $2 million. Today, all fees on Facebook are also waived, guaranteeing every last penny makes its way to your chosen organization. According to TechCrunch, last year, Facebook raised nearly $7 million, and the project worldwide reached $168 million. ESPN encouraged their followers to donate and suggested the V Foundation, one of many in the fight against cancer. And Emma Watson was there supporting too, an impressive contribution by the UK, doubling all donations to CampFed, a group dedicated to keeping young African girls in school. Facebook is doing a wonderful thing with the Gates Foundation. How great is it that Giving Tuesday happens to land on none other than National French Toast Day? Definitely not a coincidence. Good Morning America and the Today Show didn't hold back with their celebration, and these two tweeters who definitely had their share of a hearty breakfast. It's not too late for you though. You can always do your own breakfast by whipping up some eggs and putting it in the bread. Now some comical relief with the top subreddit of the month. A popular blog site picked good fake texts as this month's winner. This son told his parents he's going to live on his own. His parents responded happily for him. Surprise, surprise though, he plans on keeping the place to himself. And then with our final one, what better way to find out that your kid is pregnant than a little surprise, right? Well, maybe this isn't the best way to find out as a parent. With the latest in social media, I'm Lee Marion. Back to you guys at the desk.
You know, Karina, that French toast has me super hungry. What's your favorite French toast topping?
I would have to say strawberries. What about yours?
You know, raspberries and peanut butter is a surprisingly good combination.
Whipped cream.
Yes, those are great toppings. You know, syrup sometimes just does the trick, though, with French toast.
Yes, syrup, French toast, chocolate, all of that. Well, that's all the time we have. I'm Karina Hernandez.
And I'm Emma Olson. We'll see you on Thursday.
as a change of presentation. And then we pitched them, and we got coverage in Yahoo News, MSN, New York Post, Houston Chronicle, and a few others. So again, how you present the content matters, not just the content itself, because they actually reproduce the graphics. So that's part of my team's responsibility, is making these interesting graphics. Could be video, could be an infographic, could be an image. All right, this one's a little complicated, but basically, when we were launching 4G LTE, which is the technology behind having internet in your vehicle, which you saw in the focus group, we weren't the first to market. And in the auto industry, being the first to market is always a big deal. So we wanted to figure out how could we compete when you're not the first to market. So the team laid out this grid with our closest competitor, and to be honest, there was several competitors, but I just truncated it to make it look nice. And we realized that, excuse me, we would have 33 models. It would be free for 5 years. We had a touch screen. It had the full suite of safety features.